Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today is Monday Night in America here on May 29th, 2023. What a glorious day it's been and will be. You know who I am. I'm Roger. You guys know who that is. Who's that over there? Is that Michael? Michael, is that you?
No, it's not today.
Okay, it's Michael Day. Sorry, I get it wrong
right.
from time to time. There it is, folks. We're going to get going. Check out our link right down there at ndbmedia.net. We want to welcome, of course, someone who we have seen quite a bit in many items, and we're going to get into the conversation on what he's doing right now. But, of course, we are talking about Ben Ratner. Uh-oh. Oh, I'm getting something wrong, aren't I?
Yeah, you did. Mm-hmm.
I'm actually being really stupid about that.
Yeah,
You're not laughing either.
No, I'm not laughing either.
No. Ben Immanuel, you used to go by the name of Ben Ratner, correct?
I did for many decades.
Yeah, what happened?
Well, you'd have to ask Brett Ratner what happened. Brett Ratner is, an American writer, director, producer. Yep. And in 2017, he got pretty severely Me Too'd and was doing a bunch of bad things. And what started happening for me is because my name is Ben Ratner and his is Brett Ratner, people started getting us mixed up. Certainly not my accountant wasn't mixing us up. He's, a massively financially successful guy. But, this business is, especially in the way the world today, I'm not going down with him. I'm a good man. I've lived a good, righteous life. And yes. I can't get caught up in his baggage. In where I live in Canada, in our community here, everyone knows me. I've been doing this for a long time, but I'm also doing business with people in the States and elsewhere. And, if you put a script on someone's desk, it comes in their email and it says Ben Ratner, and they just look at it for a second and think Brett Ratner, and they make a nasty association. It's just not a good thing. And my middle name is Immanuel, and it's a way cooler name. So it was easy to kind of switch it over and not feel like a chump who made up some crazy last name just to try to, sound sexy or something. So I thought about it for a while, and people who know me the best said, don't worry about it. Like, just change it. You have to care enough to change it, and you have to care and not care enough to change it. So that's the story on that. I want to hear about your theme music, you guys. I thought, was that the theme music to Scarface?
Oh, well, you're giving us way too much credit. No, actually, Robert Summers Potterton III composed that musical intrude.
It's cool, kind of 80s music. Did you have you seen Scarface?
It's, hell yeah, yes.
Very much like Tony dancing in the club. I can just see the montage of Tony's cars and Michelle Pfeiffer and dancing in the club. Very Scarface.
I think you just made his day.
Ben, I hear that in the background. Look, I'd love to take credit for it, but it is Robert Summers Potterton III. We obviously did not give him credit early on. We normally do, and I didn't. I was just so jazzed as to what we're going to be doing here. And, of course, I messed up the intro, so what a shock. But
no big thing.
Ben, I got to tell you, I did go through a little bit of that myself. There was in the 2000s under the Bush administration, the ambassador to the OAS was Roger F. Noriega. Okay. And I am Roger D. Noriega. And up until maybe 2-3 years ago, I was getting a lot of comments from a lot of people in Central America, South America. They don't like the guy.
Yeah, that's not an association you want to make.
Right. So I get a tiny bit of it because I would immediately respond and say, no. You want to talk to someone else. And they wouldn't listen. Right. So in a way I get that, but no, I think yours was probably yours was less fair. Oh,
the things with this stuff is you never even know, right? Because you never know how many people especially as an actor too, when you're auditioning, sometimes people can look at your name and they go, I don't even want that name in my credits. I don't want to see that on my screen because, he's not a popular guy in a lot of circles. But listen, it's a complicated world, and I'd like to think, that thing that people say that no one cares about any of this stuff is true. But in the world of show business, you work so hard for so long that you don't want a misassociation to screw up a chance of something good connecting, right? So anyway, that's just
hell yeah. Now, Ben, you've done quite a bit on screen, behind. You've written it. You're a writer, producer, director, actor as well, and you've done quite a bit. How many credits do you have? I know I could have just gone to the bottom of the page and read the number.
63.
No, I think I've like on IMDb, I know it's over 100 credits of film and television.
It is
but
quite a bit, and
it's just part of it, and when you stick around long enough, I know I have friends in this industry who have like over 200 credits, and that's, people doing everything from, cop number 2 to leads in films, and in television. It's just a long road, right? So you filled up those credits over the years for sure. But yeah, I know it's over 100, and that's not counting, theater and all that stuff too, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
That wouldn't cause.
Yeah, and maybe we'll be able to get into that in just a little bit. Michael, we're here to talk about very briefly one of his projects that he's working on right now.
Yeah, we can talk about the old ones too, but
we'll get to that right now. But
yeah, let's talk about the one that you told us that is in editing right now. I just want to bring it up so people can look for it when it comes out. Any target date? You might not. I understand when you're editing, you just never know.
Not yet. This is a lower budget independent film, so you just kind of do whatever you can to move it along, right? And eventually these things see the light of day. My last couple of films were released theatrically in Canada and played festivals all over the world. So we're hoping for that kind of release on this one. And we'd like to, it's very difficult to get little independent films into movie theaters these days. But now streaming services, a lot of people can see a movie a lot more. So it's tougher to get these little films out in some ways, but there's a lot more places to show them. So that's what we hope to do with that one. The film is called, right now we're calling it Have Hope Yo. And that was something I saw written on a wall about 10 years ago. My wife and I were walking down the street and somebody had spray painted on the wall, Have Hope Yo. And we thought it was just made us feel good. We had a laugh about it. And this film takes place during the early part of the pandemic and then sort of spans into 2023. And it seemed like a good slogan for a film about that time and about people coping with that time. Have Hope Yo. Now, what I've found is a lot of people think it's a stupid title. And we're trying
So you're debating what you want to do, or?
Well, this is the beauty of it is, we don't have to name it anything right now. I mean, when lots of movies change titles. I think my films, the ones I've made, including shorts, excuse me, have always ended up on screen with the name I gave them. But this one, it's a weird time. A movie about the pandemic. We don't want to give it some corny name. Maybe Have Hope Yo is too corny, and young people have told me that they don't say yo anymore. I hear everybody saying yo. It's a film not about the pandemic, but it's a film about these certain characters and how they navigate their way through the pandemic emotionally. It's more a film about, the emotional lives of these characters than anything. So, we're figuring it out. Originally, it was called Trigger Me because everyone, talks about triggers these days. Yes. And then it became Have Hope Yo. Now, there's a song in the film We have a great composer named Adrian Glenn, and we're using all his songs. I like to do that in all the films I make. Sort of like the Simon and Garfunkel treatment from The Graduate, or Cat Stevens and Harold and Maude, to have one voice sing us through the whole film. So Adrian Glenn sent me a new song recently called Not Burning Out. And I really liked the song, and I thought this is kind of an interesting title, maybe Not Burning Out. What else can you do, right, at times like this?
Well, yeah, because I mean, we all went through. I mean, it was kind of a shock when we were in lockdown, and I still have friends that have not gotten out of that mode yet, and I tried to get them out of it, and it's difficult because they got used to it.
What did you do to try to get them out of it?
I actually would say, oh, let's go out, or I would go over to their house. At least they'd let me in, and I'd say, oh, let's go out and just take a walk and go out and try to do something. And some would, and some would not. And they just got so it messed them up. It messed them up because they got scared. They got scared.
Yeah, it's the people got scared, and didn't they also get comfortable? You know, like I had one guy tell. I mean, are you guys wearing pants right now?
Yes.
Because you know what I mean, like we all went through the pandemic with our if any pants, we had our softest, most comfortable pants, and people said, I don't want to put on hard pants and go out into the world again, right? I had one guy tell me, a business guy I know, very successful business guy, he said he liked it, and he and his friends talked about how they liked the pandemic or that lockdown period anyway, because they didn't have to do stuff they didn't want to do. They didn't have to go deal with people, and they didn't have to go to a bunch of meetings and a bunch of dinners. He said the only thing we had to worry about was the end of the world.
So there you go. Yeah, I guess that's a positive.
But that's why I made this film. You know, I started it. I was teaching online acting classes. I have this acting studio called Haven Acting Studio here in Vancouver. We just celebrated 20th anniversary. And during the beginning of COVID, I did something I never thought I'd do, which is I started teaching acting online. I couldn't imagine doing that. I could never imagine. Turned out, you know, it was pretty good, and it was a great alternative to people not being able to do anything. We started having these really powerful conversations because everybody was kind of locked up and lonely. Some of the students, you know, lived by themselves, and they were just locked up, and we'd meet in our acting classes, and there'd be all these faces on the screen, and people really needed that connection. And we started having conversations about what was going on in the world, and some big topics came up, you know, because as you know, during the pandemic, everything that was under the surface rose to the surface, right? Everything with race and gender and social media, political stuff, emotional stuff, mental health. And so somehow I tricked myself into starting to make this film about the pandemic, which I never thought I'd do. But anyway, we did it. It took a lot of time, but it's all in the can now. So it's just a matter of putting it together in a comprehensible, entertaining way.
Did it take you a long time because of the pandemic, or was it just the way you wanted to shoot it and who you wanted in it that it just took a while to put it all together? Or
well,
a combination?
Yeah, I'd like to say it was intentional, but the truth is, it's, you know, part of this. When I first started kind of pitching this film to people, one of the things I said is it's sort of a hybrid of reality and documentary. And sorry, I'm getting some noise, guys. You guys hearing that? We okay? Oh, I'm getting like some kind of really loud. It sounds like you're not hearing that? Sounds like planes. Like there might be an air raid. Are we being attacked?
Well, we could be where I am, but
yeah.
All kidding aside, no, I'm in the flight path of a helicopter, but no, there's nothing right now.
Okay,
you can hear it.
I hear something, but if you're good, I'm good. I just wanted to check with you if you could.
Thank you. No, we're not picking it up.
So yeah, what was we were talking about? Oh yeah, so I started shooting this thing in October of 2020. So we had a really small crew, and everybody was masked up, and there were no vaccines then. And so we were really careful, and we were kind of riding the line, like we were doing everything officially under the sort of mandates of the Film Commission here in BC. But anyway, we got it done, and it was kind of a miracle. We shot a bunch of stuff really fast in little spaces with people on screens and stuff. And then a friend of mine who's an executive producer on Westworld, director and executive producer on HBO show Westworld, he saw it. His name's Richard J. Lewis. He saw a little piece, like a teaser we made, and he said, I love this. I want to be a part of this. So that was great to have the support of somebody working at that level. We started pitching it around for television. We wanted to make this thing into a television show and showing people our footage. But guess what? Nobody wanted to make a show about the pandemic. Nobody wanted to deal with COVID. They'd say, we love these characters. We love what you got here. It's really well done. We don't want to touch COVID. People, they said, if it ends, nobody's going to want to look at it. And if it keeps going, nobody's going to want to look at it. There was this little window at the beginning of the pandemic. Somebody made a show that was on a US network. I think they did like 6 or 8 episodes of kind of a goofy show about the pandemic, but they got it out there at the right time when you could kind of, have a laugh about it before people got too scared. So anyway, we couldn't sell the show. And I thought, well, what am I going to do with this? I'm not going to abandon all this great footage. So I decided I'll just make it into a feature, and I'm going to bring it into 2023. So we did this really cool thing with the film where it was sort of a hybrid of documentary, not real documentary, but, I guess they call it mockumentary, but it wasn't like goofy. We did it very real. And we used all the footage and put this really cool, unusual film together that I'm confident that people are going to really enjoy it. And it's going to give us a chance to look back at how we felt and what was funny and what wasn't so funny, and especially younger people, because those are kind of the leads in the film, people in their 20s. Imagine like the prime of your life in many ways, being locked up, right? Not being able to go out and have fun and, hook up and just do all the stuff you do when you're in your 20s. Those people missed out on 2 or 3 really good years of freedom, right?
Wow, Ben, I wasn't thinking about that. Just the last few sentences. Being older myself, I started, I guess, I'm in my early 50s when COVID began, and I did everything I could to get out. I met Michael in Arizona. He came over to meet family in December 2020. I drove out there, even just to meet him for about an hour or two, and I did that. And then we got together in 2021, went to Florida, Georgia, met him over there. So I get that. But, Ben, wow, I didn't think of that from a young person's point of view.
Oh, yeah. For people who are old enough to have independence, and different, regions of the world have different kind of rules, right? So, people here in Vancouver and Canada were pretty careful. People were masked up for the most part. And there was always, people who have different ways of thinking about these things. But people were, businesses were shut down. Certainly anybody who worked in a bar or a restaurant was out of luck. It was pretty locked down. So, and then imagine for the kids, younger kids, they're screwed, but they have video games, right? So those kids just became deeply, deeply even more addicted to their video games and their computers and their technology. And, seniors were stuck at home. They couldn't have visits in person, so they're waving at their kid through a window, It was pretty crazy. And I was surprised that nobody wanted to take it on a network level and make a show about what was really going on. But it's unprecedented. I remember about 15 years ago, somebody I know was making a show about a divorce, like a really deep, true look at divorce in a family and custody battle, and no one would make it because they said people don't want to look at this. It's just people can't tune into this every week. It's too much, too brutal for people to take this on every week. TV's changed a lot now, hasn't it? People now, things get pretty hardcore and pretty far, but it seems like the pandemic was the last taboo. Nobody's done it yet. There's been some movies, people have touched upon it in shows, but they barely touch it, right? Little reference, little joke about a mask or something. So yeah, I think this film is going to land somewhere with a lot of people.
Do you think that after you release the film, we might be ready to look back on the pandemic, on either some expand from the movie maybe, or?
That's a good question. I think the film could. We'll see. I guess right now my priority is making the best film I can in a open and closed format. But you never know. I mean, you never know if people love the characters enough and love the style of the filmmaking. You never know what's possible. It's getting anything made and out into the world truly is a miracle. I mean, it's, when you think about being born, it's a miracle, right? Like, what are the chances that those people are going to meet and that sperm and that egg are going to do their thing and that it's going to happen? It's a total miracle that any of us are here. I feel it's kind of the same way with a movie. If you can get a movie made out into the world, especially without putting stars in it, because that obviously is a much easier way. But to tell stories without movie stars and actually get an audience, it's a true miracle.
Yeah, get past the critics. That's the other thing.
Yeah, the critics are the least of the problem, really. It's just the financing, right?
Well, I mean, after you got the financing and it gets out there, if they just shred it, hopefully you have some viewers that will reverse it, if things like that.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, there's so many variables, because for me, like my last film, a feature called Downriver, has 100% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, which is, the rating website for. So 100%, lots of awards at different festivals, but you could take a film, I don't know, a Steven Seagal film that gets completely destroyed by critics, and a lot more people will have seen that film because it's a niche market, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So critics, audiences, financiers, you have to go through a lot of channels to do it, but that's why not everyone does it, right? It's not supposed to be easy, but it's every time I do one, I kind of feel like, okay, I did it. Now I just got to take a breath and just try to work my way into the world of television, where there's more financing and there's more support to make things. And I'm going to stop making these little independent films. And then I spend 10 years pitching television shows and getting things developed. But that's a whole other world. That's an even bigger miracle. I think, my years in this business as a writer, director, actor, producer, television, to get a television show up and running is probably the most difficult thing to do, to get all those people to sign off on something and give you control of something that's going to just be burning money for week after week after week after month. That's a big one. So I end up back in the world of independent film, where I can do what I want with the people I want. And I have the freedom. I kind of throw my own party and get it out there. And I've kind of accepted and kind of embraced the fact that that's kind of the kind of guy I am, and the kind of filmmakers that I've admired have been the ones who say, I'm doing this. There was a great filmmaker named John Cassavetes from the 70s. And there's a story about him, and he ended up making these brilliant films that young people don't know about these days. But there's a story about him about to go into principal photography to start shooting, and they didn't have any money. And he said, we're shooting tomorrow. And one of his producers said, we can't shoot, John, we have no film, we can't shoot. And he goes, I don't care if we don't have any film. If there's no film in the camera, we're shooting anyway, right? You have to just want to do it that bad.
Wow, I appreciate that, Ben. You mentioned the timing of this, and we know that some movies do well, don't. Sometimes it just is timing. Maybe you're right there for COVID. None of us have been alive for the last pandemics. We don't know what timeline it is. Look, think of 9/11. That was in September of 2001. I remember the first thing that actually did debut was on the Discovery Times channel, and it was the flight that fought back.
Right.
That was about 2 years after, and it was a documentary. And then I think we had the air. I forget the name of the movie, but it was United. Oh, it was United 93.
Yeah.
I think that was in 2005. And then you had the Nick Cage movie on the tower, and I think it was about the same time. So that took a few years.
And there were documentaries, that were very powerful.
One singular event.
Yeah, and there was an enemy, or at least,
yes,
we'd like to imagine that people knew exactly what was going down and who that enemy was, so you could tell a heroic story of people fighting this enemy. But COVID is this invisible enemy, right? So nobody can really, point the finger at anything with true knowledge. Of course, there's lots of theories out there about what happened and, who's responsible for COVID, but I don't know. Who knows? That's not my area of interest. Isn't the politics of COVID. It's the emotion that comes behind it and how it changed people's lives. And I've talked to lots of people whose lives have been made way better by COVID, just quitting jobs they hate or losing jobs they hate or falling in love with somebody they're quarantined with or whatever happens. And then I've talked to people whose lives have been, really challenged or pulled apart. And of course, people die. I remember at the very beginning of COVID, a cousin of mine in upstate New York died when it was really bad in New York State, right? It was a concentrated area right near the beginning of it. And so that was the first person I know who died of it. But for the most part, me and my family, knock on wood, my friends, were really lucky and didn't kind of suffer, the atrocities that so many did. So I'm taking a lighter look at it. It's not comedy all the way, my film, but it's certainly there's comedic aspects to just the ridiculous stuff we all ended up doing, right?
Ben, I hope that we have a chance to talk about the endeavor when it's going to debut, because I'm interested in it, because it's all about story. George Lucas said, a special effect extravaganza without a story is a sad thing. And I'm paraphrasing. It's all about story.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the play is the thing. I think good old Shakespeare said that, right? It's the truth. You don't have a good story, it's hard to keep people in a theater, even in a special effects movie. They still want to be, you want to see your hero fighting for something, overcoming something, going towards something. It definitely helps. I can't speak for, maybe there's audiences out there who can just watch things blow up for 90 minutes, but I think most people want somebody to cheer for, right?
Yes, I would agree with that. I always do. Action's great, but how you get there and what happens is important. Now, you've mentioned a few things that have my attention. Now, there's a quote that I found. It wasn't that difficult, but about directing. You said directing is like a street fight. The only reason I'm going to do it, and now I'm definitely paraphrasing, is if I have no other choice. You mentioned some things about, that right now, that it's, why do you do it if it's that much? I mean, I understand. Having a movie, having a project, it is a miracle. But being a director, it's a street fight.
Being a producer is even harder than being a director. I mean, it's all challenging and tough. But, I remember that quote showing up on IMDb after an article I did after I made my second feature, Moving Downriver. And I thought, did I say that? I guess I said that. And it's, something I said in the moment in an interview, and that's how it felt, right? It's like, if somebody asks me, do you want to direct a TV movie or something that I'm not emotionally connected to, it's like I'd be saying yes for the money, and that's okay. Like, people got to make a living, and the more you do something, the better you get at it. So to do work, we do it as actors all the time. Some projects you're emotionally invested in, and some you go, okay, well, I'm going to have fun and do my best here, try to elevate this thing if I can, or whatever you can do. But as a director, God, you just got to take on the whole thing. As an actor, it's still hard, but you're just responsible for your part. But as a director of something you're not emotionally invested in, you got to take on everything. And that's not why I do it. But comparing it to a street fight is I'm not walking around looking for a street fight, right?
Right.
I don't want to do it, and it's been a long time. But if you're backed into a corner, you got to do it. I'll do it, right? And that's like directing. Like you get backed into a corner, but the weird thing about that is you're backing yourself into the corner. You're your own opponent, you know, like you're backing yourself in and going, you got to do this. You got to tell this story. You're emotionally invested in this. You know the actors you want to work with. You can see it now. You can hear it now. You can imagine the music. You got to go out and get the money. Where are you going to get the money? And you go, okay. You fight back, or it's almost as much as a fighting back as a surrender. I'd say making a film. In a way, you're fighting, and in another way, you're just surrendering to this thing, right? I keep thinking I'm too old for this crap to make these kind of films. My crew, my director of photography on this one, a woman named Emma, she's like in her early 20s. And, that's the next generation of people making films. And I'd never made a film with a woman as a cinematographer back when I started making independent films. So, the new crews, they're very impressive. They know their stuff. They know their technology, and they're young and they have all that energy. So it's good for me to keep up with these people, right? To be working, 15-hour days back to back. Who wants to do that? Stand out in the rain and the cold, making a film. But if you care enough, you do it.
Yes. Now, you've done things on screen before, or in front of the camera, behind the camera. We've been privileged to speak to many people that have been involved in the entertainment industry, and they prefer theater. Is it also for you, Ben? If you had your dithers, would it be theater over anything else? Forget about the pay, forget about all that. Is theater your shtick?
I've certainly done theater and have had amazing times doing it. And, it's kind of a cliche to say, but more now than ever, theater's important, right?
Yes.
Because of AI and because of the saturation of television and a million channels and a million streamers and so much content coming at people, and they can binge it or they can watch it at their own pace or they can fast forward through it. Theater's not like that. Theater, you're in the room having that live experience in the moment. It'd be like you guys, if you did interviews and if you asked a question and I taped my response and sent it to you, and then you taped your response, we could put it together and it would sound like a real interview, and we could maybe do some cool things and make it pop, but it's not the same as actually doing it in real time, right? So theater is real. Theater is real time. And the main thing is the material, right? Sure, there's crappy plays, but no actors do theater to do crappy plays. You do the good stuff, or you develop your own stuff, right?
Yes.
But the great writers teach you how to act. I've been lucky and had a number of brilliant acting teachers. And one of the things that I've learned is that great plays make great actors. You can't become a great actor doing substandard material. You can learn to do it, but it's like they say, you can't polish a turd, right? You can only make bad stuff so good. But, you get your Tennessee Williams or your Arthur Miller or your John Patrick Shanley and Joe Penhall. These are all writers I grew up with, and they've kind of formed not only an acting approach, but they form sort of an ideology about how people communicate. So theater teaches you to be a better, smarter actor for sure.
Before I go back to Michael, I want to stick on the theater a bit, and this is just technical because I don't know any better. I was in a high school play. I was in a fourth grade play, and that was it. But I know there's the traditional theater. We think of Broadway or something that you see in a local little theater. But there's also theater in the round, and maybe even a hybrid, which is called a dinner mystery performance. Have you done those, or are they any interest to you to do those?
Listen, never say never, because you never know what's going to happen. Dinner theater is a world that I haven't been involved with. Okay. Again, this profession of being an actor, you kind of got like Brad Pitt and then everyone else. So everyone else is trying to make a living, and everyone else is, blessed to be able to do something they love. So we don't get to make all the fancy choices that, a very, very select group does. So if somebody's doing dinner theater, I hope they're having fun, and I hope they're entertaining audiences and, sharpening their craft and doing their show and going home at night and having a beer and putting their feet up and going, okay, another night, another job well done, right? That kind of material isn't something that I've been drawn to, this sort of more, murder mystery stuff. Theater in the round, yeah, they can do that anywhere. Like theater in the round just really means that the audience is seated around the stage. So it's really cool to see, the play is staged so everyone has a good seat, everyone has a good view. And that, creates certain challenges for the director to keep that action moving. I just saw a really cool production not that long ago of a play I loved. It was one of my first professional plays called American Buffalo, played by David Mamet, written in, I believe, the mid-'80s, early '80s. Mm-hmm. Al Pacino famously played the character of Teach. I played the character of Bobby when I was really young, and had an amazing experience doing it. And then all these years later, I went and saw it with Sam Rockwell playing Teach.
Oh, yeah.
In the Round in New York. Can't remember what theater I was in, but I think I can't remember. Roundabout Theater, maybe, I'm not sure. But so to sit and the stage is in the middle and everybody is surrounding the stage, it's really cool. It's like boxing, right? It's right. Like everybody sits around that ring, and kind of by surrounding that action, it elevates the intensity. It's really cool.
Appreciate that. Michael, I'm dominating. I don't know if you have any more. I do.
Well, I forgot one thing I was going to ask when we were.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm going to remember this, and then of course I don't. Old brain, It's like.
Okay, well, in the meantime.
But I've got something. I'll go on to something else.
I took a lot of notes.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. You have been in a lot of TV series too, either playing it for one time or several episodes. One of them, and I noticed that I really enjoyed the series that it only lasted 4 seasons, was Travelers, and I believe that was produced up in Canada.
It was right in my hometown, Vancouver.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I mean, I really enjoyed that. I don't know how many people have seen it, but was there anything in that one that kind of stuck out with you, either meeting people or the story or your character or anything like that?
Well, what was one of the cool things about that was my wife, Jennifer Spence, had a great part in that. I'm trying to remember her character's name. She was one of the travelers who was kind of a bitch until you got to know her. She's the one who ate the French fries. What was her character's name? I can't remember.
I'm looking it up.
we both are.
Jennifer Spence. And people loved her in that part. And I can't remember if she won, but she was certainly nominated for a number of awards.
Oh, yeah. Grace. She was
Grace.
Yeah. Same last name as me. I don't.
And so she just loved doing that show. So I was so happy to see her in that part. And Eric McCormack, who was one of the producers and the lead on the show, people know Eric more for his career in comedy on Will and Grace.
Right.
Eric's a very versatile actor and very, very smart guy. So he asked me to come in and audition for the part that I did. And it was just, I've certainly played that part many times over the years, variations of the kind of wacky boy man-child scientist. So it wasn't a part that I went, this is amazing, I've never done this. But it was like, this is so great, I get to be a part of the show with these good people. And, the longer you do something, for me, having been a professional actor since like 1990 or so, you start to just kind of understand, okay, what's my place in this? You kind of give what you can to a part to make it your own and make it fun, but you also have to, know where it sits. And I actually learned an interesting lesson on that show from Eric. who was directing one of the episodes I did, I wanted more character, right? They dressed me in clothes from the Gap, and I felt like, and they shaved me, no beard, kind of neat hair, and I thought, who am I? Like, what kind of guy am I? I don't feel like, I don't know who I am here. And their idea for the character was that he's kind of a guy who's just never grew up, and his mom buys his clothes. And I liked all those ideas, but I still thought, I don't feel like I'm bringing anything visually to make this thing special, So I was doing this old cliche that with you kind of ball your hands up in your sleeves, and it makes you look kind of weird, when you hide your hands in your sleeves. And Eric was directing, and he said, "Can you not do that thing with your sleeves? Don't do that, please." And I said, "Why not?" And he said, "Because I have to believe you when you give me information. And if you look too kind of weird and too childish and too crazy, I'm not going to be able to believe you as a guy who has all this knowledge." So I say, okay, good point. Fair enough. Like sometimes you're part of the story, and your character can't work against the story. So, sometimes you take away a lesson from a show, and that was one of them, or certainly a reminder.
Mm-hmm.
It was a popular show. People really like it. There was a lot of people pissed off when Netflix didn't renew it.
Yeah, I thought they would, and then they did not. But
well, they usually don't. Doesn't Netflix usually give things a couple of years, maybe 2, 3
sometimes? Yeah,
used to.
I was about to say, you're probably giving the line that everyone's using right now. Shouldn't they give it a little bit more? Netflix is famous for, okay, I'm maybe not famous, but there's a lot of talk in the internet that Netflix is canceling a lot of stuff at first and even second season. But they're the metrics. They read them better than anyone else. It's their metrics. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, it's a business for sure,
Yeah.
right? They're not in the developing careers business. They're in the making money business.
Yes. I want to take a quick moment, ladies and gentlemen. I want to give a shout out to Tiffany Weiss. Thank you for giving us a like. Everyone else, we have several people already joining us. Let us know who you are, where you hail from. If you have any questions, please let us know. We'll get to them, and hopefully Ben will be able to answer them. But let's hear them, folks. Ben, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking Tito's vodka, straight Tito's vodka. It's
Good man.
Been drinking since 10 a.m. this morning just to steel my nerves for this interview.
Oh, okay.
No, of course I'm drinking this beautiful British Columbia tap water, which is great. Yesterday I did an interview online like this, and I had 4 espressos before the interview. Wow. And usually I'm a pretty good coffee drinker, but for some reason I was so jacked up in this interview that I felt afterwards, I got, oh God, I was like a tennis ball machine, Kept coming. So no coffee before this one.
Fair enough. Well, I have my coffee over here. I'm just having the simple Clamato. Everyone thinks I'm drinking hard liquor. I'm like, no, I'm not slurring my speech yet. But I'll kidding aside. So we know your drink. So we're going to do a few quick questions before we get back maybe to the acting studio. And I have to know about your amateur boxing career.
Okay.
But iPhone or Android? What do you have?
iPhone.
Okay. So if you play music, what is the first song that we're going to hear on your phone?
Well, right now I've been listening to that song that I told you about that I want to put in my film.
Oh, from Adrian Glenn, right?
Adrian
Not Burning
Glenn's,
Out?
Not Burning Out. If anybody is looking for some, if you like music like Simon and Garfunkel, Cat Stevens, Elliott Smith, that kind of really cool, full of feeling, acoustic-y kind of rock, check out Adrian Glenn. I got a lot of music on my phone. I got too much. I love the older music, older kind of soul music and funk and sort of, 70s was kind of my time musically, but I listen to it all. No, actually, I don't. I don't have any idea what's going on with modern music. I kind of stopped, I guess.
Yeah. I'm not prepared to argue on that. Mm-hmm. Music is changing quite a bit, but I guess every generation has that, right?
Yeah.
What was strange for our parents, I guess now is strange for us. So
the thing is, the thing is, are we going to be listening to, auto-tune pop songs 40 years from now? I don't think so, but who knows?
Right. So I kind of asked this one already, but when it comes to entertainment, watch at home, or do you prefer the movie theater experience? And this is you as a fan.
Well, there's nothing like, watching a movie with an audience.
Opening day, right?
And taking that ride anytime, but, admittedly, my wife and I sure don't go out to the movies as much as we think we should,
Yeah.
We watch a lot of stuff on TV at home, or sometimes we have a real romantic evening and watch Netflix in separate rooms, it can really we don't always agree on what we want to watch. So sometimes we're watching different things at different times. But yeah, movie theater's the best. I was just talking to somebody the other day about, there's a movie called Room, not The Room, which was that bizarre film, that sort of cult thing that they call it the worst movie ever. Room, which stars Brie Larson and a young man I coached sometime as an acting teacher, Jacob Tremblay, amazing young actor. Anyway, I just remember seeing that film in the theater, and there's incredibly high stakes tension in that film. Some just like great directing, great filmmaking. And I remember something was happening at one point in the film, and it was so tense. And I turned and looked around in the theater, and every single person in the theater was like, bro.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Like everybody was just covering their face with their hands. And that's so cool to experience that together, right?
Yes.
It's like live music, or like going out and seeing sports. It's way more fun with a bunch of people. But, people don't want to pay for the parking and stand in line and pay $20 for a thing of popcorn. I get that. But yeah, if you can get in the theater, always better.
All right. Appreciate that. Switching gears a little bit, favorite book?
I love John Steinbeck. He's my favorite author. I think his insight into humanity and nature is very inspiring and enlightening for me. I'd say lately, his favorite book of mine, I don't know, I'm going to say The Grapes of Wrath. Classic, beautiful book.
Yes. By chance, did you ever read Tom Clancy?
I have not read Tom Clancy, but I'm aware of Tom Clancy.
Yes.
That's one of your favorites?
Yeah. But I read the old Choose Your Own Adventure series novels. You familiar with those kids' books where I may have one right now. It's a Choose Your Own Adventure. They were famous in the late 70s, early 80s, where you read a few pages and then you come up to a choice. And does your character do this? Does your character do that? Whatever you choose, and you go to that page, you read on, and again, you have additional choices. It's kind of cool. Choose Your Own Adventure.
It kind of sounds like it was ahead of its time, because now people do that with content, right?
Yes, definitely was. Big fan of that, but it's a kid's book. Two more quick questions on the quick round. Favorite subject in school, and if you have a guilty pleasure, what's your guilty pleasure?
Favorite subject in school, I guess, would have been either creative writing. Like when we wrote stories, I always really enjoyed making up stories and telling them.
Yeah.
Sharing them, in the classroom. That was kind of my jam. That was my world. Favorite, what was it? Guilty pleasure.
Guilty pleasure, yes.
Oh man. Depends what kind of guilt. Are you talking about shame? If you're talking about shame, I'm an emotional eater, right? So my guilty, shameful pleasure is just like eating away my feelings when I come home from working or come home from teaching, and I just want to consume. And then it's pleasurable for the moment, and then the next day I just feel like crap. So that's kind of I guess that's kind of a bummer of an answer. On the lighter side, on the lighter side, I guess guilty pleasure is singing karaoke in the car.
Oh wow! All right, okay. Yeah. Now, is that with passengers or just on your own in traffic?
It's mostly on my own. Sometimes my wife can only take it so much, right? But I do like to crank up the karaoke app in the car and sing some Elvis tunes, or belt some stuff out. Feels good.
Well, I have to tell you, I'm not sure what Michael does, but I sing "We're the Kids in America," and I think I'm turning Japanese.
Okay, so
Those are
you're
the ones that
really
I'm singing.
cutting loose. Yeah.
Just a little bit. So I'm sure some people, if they're able to read my lips, are like, "What the hell's the matter with
Yeah,
that?"
right.
I'm just trying to get through traffic. But you mentioned Theater in the Round being there, and you compared it to being a boxing match or a title fight.
Mm-hmm.
You are, or were, well, no, you are, because it never leaves you. You were an amateur boxer, and you won a gold medal at the 1981 BC Winter Games.
Did you hear what you just said? 1981.
I'm sorry, young man. A little while ago. A
Yeah.
little while ago.
Last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did. And I loved Muhammad Ali when I was a little kid.
Yes.
He was the greatest. And it's another whole other story, but I got to meet him and spend some time with him in 2009.
Oh,
and
wow.
very, very surreal, full circle, how the world works sometimes. But yeah, I loved Ali, and I'm still a short person, and I was the smallest kid. So I was playing hockey, and I was playing against guys a foot taller than me and big guys. And I thought, yeah, this is getting too rough. I need to start boxing, fight guys my own size. And
well, with hockey, you were halfway there.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just, it's like, I want to get in there with guys my own size. And so, yeah, I got pretty serious about it and ended up fighting for, I think, four or 5 years, and won a gold medal at the BC Winter Games and fought in a lot of tournaments, and ended up at the Canadian Junior Championships fighting a guy named Howard Grant. And he went on to the Olympics and to a professional career, and he ended up being one of the boxing trainers for George St. Pierre, the UFC champ. So he went on and had a career. The thing about boxing is you say, I really want to be a boxer, until you fight somebody who wants to be a boxer more than you do.
Yeah.
And then you go, okay, I see how this works. So I quit at the right time. I got, pretty badly concussed by Howard Grant, and was young enough that I don't think I'm still carrying those injuries, but I'm carrying a lot of lessons, a lot of wisdom accumulated in boxing, and fought some great fighters. And I could never beat the best of the best, but I beat some tough guys. But the best of the best, those guys were operating at another level of need. Most of them were poor kids, who didn't really have any other choices. And I was upper middle class kid who didn't really need to box, So it's not a sport for hobbyists. If you're going to actually get in the ring and fight, you got to take it very seriously, or you learn really quickly that you got in over your head.
Ben, I thank you for that. There's a great deal of humility in that answer and in that story, and I thank you. I was lucky. I played sports for a while myself, and I get that. Mm-hmm. There are just some people that have that, man, and when you see it, you're like, oh, the seriousness hits.
You do. You see it. You see it in their eyes. I'm thinking of the guys I fought, and just looking into their eyes and going. Actually, the last guy I fought, Howard Grant, just before, when we touched gloves before the fight, I just remember he gave me a little wink. That's not good.
I get that though. Wow, that is cool. Wow, man, that is some great insight. I thank you for that. It's really good stuff. But you have a gold medal. You can't take that away. I'm also envious. Oh, no, go ahead.
That's it. I do have that thing. I got a bunch of dusty boxing trophies that I still have kind of piled up in a corner of my studio where no one can see them unless they look really hard, and then they might be able to see them. So part of me still wants people to know I went all through that stuff, but they have to really look hard to see them.
Hell yeah. I am envious. And folks, thank you, Tiffany. She asked earlier, can you sing? And she says she has her battle scars from martial arts. She says that's awesome. I'm envious of your library. I'm going to embarrass everyone here. There's my tiny little
That's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, but young man, yours is bigger than mine, I can tell. So I got to check.
What she said.
Yes. I like yours though. It's wow. You have quite a few books back there.
There's lots of plays, lots of books. Tiffany's, did she ask a question? Can I sing?
Yes.
I can kind of sing the blues. I can sing a certain type of music. I'm not going to do it now, but there's a certain kind of range I can sing in. Okay. But I definitely cannot, I'm not going to be belting out a Freddie Mercury song, but I can kind of sing a good kind of growly thing if I've had the right combination of, a couple of glasses of something and I'm in good company, I might give it a shot.
That's cool. But you did mention the karaoke earlier, and that does take quite a bit of nerve. Ladies and gentlemen, Tiffany says, don't be shy. Who knows? Maybe next time when he has a chance, hopefully we'll have a chance to speak to him whether it's still the same name on the project or it has a different name. We would love to be there and to assist in our tiny way to get word out on that. But look,
appreciate it.
We are closing up on the hour right now. We understand you do have commitments. We are on your time. Oh, Tiffany, actually, this is a sarcastic or smart line. Give him some Comet water. There's a program on Sci-Fi called The Ark, and it's a sci-fi program, and they have a water issue, and they get water from a comet. Well, apparently the comet makes them do stuff.
Hallucinate.
Hallucinate and have some adventures.
I don't know if I want to go that far to be hallucinating, but I would, I'll a little buzz from the comet water would be okay, but I'm not ready to hallucinate.
There you go, Tiffany. So who knows? Maybe have the comet water ready to go for next time. You have your actor studio. It's Vancouver's top acting studio. It's havenactingstudio.com. I'm sorry we don't have the link at the bottom right there. But in one of the final questions that I have, it says here on your website, our philosophy, to each their own.
Yeah, that's certainly a part of it. I mean, it's more complex than that, but that is the opening line. It's like a lot of things. Some people teach from a place of saying, this is the way to do it. Everyone else is wrong. If you don't do it our way, or if you don't do it this way that's been passed down generation by generation. But, maybe part of it is being a boxer. You got to suit the style of fighting to the boxer, right? Everybody fight in the same style. So everybody comes, Joe Frazier was a smaller guy with a big left hook. Muhammad Ali was a dancer, with speed. They're very different guys. You're not going to train them the same, right? So it's same with acting for me. For me, you got to take a look at the student, what they bring to the table, and you got to kind of introduce them to as many different principles, skills, techniques as possible, and see what they gravitate toward, and just never tell them there's a right way or a wrong way of doing it. Everybody's got to find their own way, and you just give them as many tools as they can and kind of let them pick what works, what they believe in. I don't trust anyone who tells me there's only one way to do anything.
And before I go back to Michael, if he has another question or so, because we don't want to keep you very long. I've heard that before, that there's a way we do things, and I'm paraphrasing, the industry. We do this because this is the way it works. Mm-hmm. Is that really the standard that a lot of, from your point of view, is that the hard-nosed attitude in Hollywood that there's a way of doing it and that's it?
I don't think so. I think that, speaking in terms of acting schools, acting is not a science, right? It's an art form. Yeah. And there's no sort of evidence about what works other than a great performance. So when acting teachers help create a great performance, they want to go, see, my way worked, right?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Like, this is the right way to do it. But when you hear stories about these certain famous institutions, we'll say the famous actors studio, a bunch of amazing actors came out of the actor studio, a whole generation of great actors, Paul Newman, Al Pacino, Ellen Burstyn. They all came out of there. So people think, oh, the actor studio, their way works. But you don't hear about the actors who floundered or who had nervous breakdowns or whatever, right? So you just kind of got to say, okay, if the actor studio approach works for you, fantastic, go with it, have a great career. And if it doesn't, there's plenty of other ways of looking at it, right? So I like to do it that way. I like to give people a lot of autonomy to find their own way and just give them guidance and lead them, but not tell them too much right or wrong. The things that are right for me are, first, story first. Tell the story clearly, be able to speak and communicate clearly, be able to be responsible and be respectful to your partner. Don't be an asshole, basically. These are kind of the fundamentals, but there's so many different acting techniques. People got to find their own way.
Wow. Appreciate that. Tiffany has a question, and she says, I have an audition tomorrow for Cobra Kai. Now, is that as in for the actual program, or is that a martial arts? I'm very naive when it comes to that.
That is a show.
It is the show, right? Where
there is a show, but
right from the Karate Kid, right?
Yeah.
Where he continued. Wow. Well, any suggestions? Yeah, in the last few seconds, right?
Well, it's okay. I like to take a minute. I think that's really cool. I'd say the first thing is,
wow,
if Tiffany has an audition for Cobra Kai, first celebrate that you have an audition for Cobra Kai, because you're already in a minority of people who have an opportunity to do what they want to do, right? Like, that's just great that you have an opportunity to audition for a great show. So celebrate that, consider that a victory already. And I don't know if Tiffany is auditioning on tape. I imagine probably doing what they call a self-tape now, where you tape it yourself and send it in. I'd say, who has great advice on auditioning is the amazing actor Bryan Cranston. I don't know if Tiffany's heard his advice, but he says your job as an actor is not to go in and get the job. That's out of your control. He says your job as an actor is to go in and give them your version of the scene, the absolute best you can. You make your choice of how you want to do it. You go in and give them that. And if you do that well, you've done your job. You walk away. And I think that's great advice for so many actors who go in trying to figure out, what do I got to do? How can I convince them to hire me? What do they need? What do they want? You got to know the show, know the genre, know the world you're in. And then you got to give your best version of it. And that's all you can do, right? Just do your absolute best job of what your choice is. I've never heard better auditioning advice for actors in many, many years than that. And it can be very liberating for people when they stop looking at the result and they just enjoy the actual process of delivering their best work. And
Bryan Cranston, coming from Malcolm in the Middle to going to Breaking Bad. Wow. Yay. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And I saw him on stage.
And stage work. Yes.
Yeah. I saw him on stage doing the stage version of Network, which was, a famous film in the late 70s, early 80s, maybe.
I think it was 70s. Yeah. I remember.
Yeah.
So he did the lead role in the play, and he was so powerful on stage. It was really something. He's a great actor. He truly is. He's one of the greats. He's like any young actor should be, any actors period should be watching that guy and see how he does what he does. There's very few people with that much range and who can just give so much of themselves in every performance.
And thank goodness he was not, what's the word, pigeonholed or listed in such a way that
typecast.
Typecast, yes, thank you. Because he could have been for comedy, which he was hilarious in Malcolm in the Middle.
Yeah.
But who thought he had the drama in him, right?
Yeah. Well, he's one of those guys who finds the humor in everything he does, right? Even in Breaking Bad, there's the sort of the humor of the human condition is in there.
Yes, definitely. Michael, is there anything else that you wanted to ask real quick?
I think Tiffany's question was good, and I would rather
Yeah,
just
she
go
said
with that
thank you.
because Ben did has that other commitment. So
Yeah,
I would rather
we
save any more questions I have till hopefully the next time that we can have you on, Ben.
Thanks, guys. I was glad to come in and talk to you. It was fun. And when I get this movie out, maybe I can come back and tell people where they can see it. That'd be great.
That would be great.
We would love that. Ben, humbly, I thank you. And Ben, it's going to come across as stupid, man, but I appreciate the humility in your answers. The truth that you gave us, they're real, man. And
thanks.
it means a great deal. I'd love to have a conversation with you again in the future about some of the stuff that you do as a writer, director, and producer.
Cool.
But I'm eternally grateful. You're a kind individual. I wish you well in your endeavor of finishing this movie and everything else. We can't wait to see where else you're performing as well.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Ben. You have a wonderful enjoy the rest of your evening.
Okay, you too. Thank you.
All
Thanks,
right.
Tiffany. See you later.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Bye-bye, guys.
Yeah. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, and that's the way it should be. Michael should stay there.
No.
I guess not. Okay. All right. Well, then if you want to be that way, that's the way it should be, because I need to be looking that way. You know, of course, that when I look that way, I'm not looking at my books. I'm looking at a hutch that has a bunch of file folders. Seriously.
And I'm behind the file folder.
That's all they are. Look, file folders. See? 3 ring binders. That's all they are. That's what I'm looking at. And then it's a hutch. It is oh my goodness. What is the name of the the color is cherry root, and it's like a red walnut furniture. I can't remember the name. Oh man, I'm getting old. Something out of Office Depot. I don't know. But anyway, I thank everyone visiting with us. There are quite a few people that are watching us. Guys, ask your questions. Let's hear your comments. But we know it is before the start of our normal time. So we do know that a lot of this is going to be after the fact. But Ben, Immanuel, wow, incredible insight and a lot of fun. Hi, question giver. It's been a little bit. Good day. Yes. Thanks for stopping in. So I know that we cannot ask you questions because you question us, but we ask you we thank you for joining us again. So, Michael, is there anything else that you want to? And Jay, thanks for the like, Jay. Come on, man. Anyway, appreciate it. We feel insecure here. We need lots of likes. Michael, any announcements before we go?
Well, since Tiffany is one of our big ARC fans,
I don't know what that
next 4 Sundays at 11 a.m. Pacific time.
You're killing me, buddy.
I'm trying to. 2 p.m. Eastern time, 7 p.m. UK time, 8 p.m. Serbian time. We have actors or actors from the series The Ark on with us.
Actor or actors? What does that mean? You know, I'm being a jerk now.
Well, okay. Well, we have 2 of our actor friends coming back to do a live show that one of them requested, said, can I come back and be with one of the other actors? And I said, certainly, as long as they're available. And
how long did that take? 3 days to make it happen?
It actually took 1 day for the other actor to say yes, and about 3 days to get a date that they both could do it.
I think you've announced it, but if you don't mind, go ahead and announce it
now.
No,
it's June 25th. It's Christy Burke, our lovely Lieutenant Garnett from the Ark, and Ryan Adams or Angus Medford. And we're very excited about that.
That's his name? Angus Medford?
Medford. Mm-hmm. You didn't know that? Yeah.
I thought it was Papa Angus.
Well, that's the other name that other people gave him.
That was the 3rd episode, man. That one was too easy. Papa Angus.
Yeah, and then on going backwards, since we're going backwards now, on the 18th, we have Dominic Cisak or Harris Beckner from the Ark. The previous week, we have Jessica Yemi or Naomi Spencer. She's in a lot of shots. And
Oh,
then
yes, she's on the bridge, is she not?
she's on the bridge. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And then June 4th, I'm so bad with these names.
Is it Milos Svetkovic?
That sounds better than I could do it. And he plays Sasha Novak. And so that's exciting.
That was Eve's main squeeze, right?
No.
Ava's main squeeze. No?
No.
Oh, that's Dominic.
That's Dominic, yeah.
I apologize. Oops, sorry.
Well, maybe there's something behind the scenes we might find out. But, I don't know.
I don't know. I apologize, folks.
That's okay.
Way to blow the announcement.
I know. But one of the Monday stars on June 5th.
Oh, yeah.
And I know you pronounce her name better than I do. Skyla Elise. She is in the series The Crossover on Disney Plus.
And then on the 12th, on another Monday in America, you have Naledi Murray, who's Wendy on Sweet Tooth.
Yes, Sweet Tooth is on Netflix. Hopefully some of our fans have seen that. It's a very interesting series. End of the world, things happen, 90% of the population dies, and the survivors are dealing with all the kids are hybrids, part animal, part people. And it's a very interesting.
Kids hybrids now, Michael? You got a mom, you got a dad, isn't that a hybrid?
Well, this is even more.
Ooh.
So
did you hear that, Tiffany? It's even more.
Yeah, it's like if you took Comet water and it was on steroids. Yeah. And
is that a bad trip? I don't take drugs, so I don't know. I had no response. I don't.
And on June 19th,
I'm naive, folks.
we have one of our favorite authors coming on with us for, is this the third or the fourth time?
Well, he's been on as a guest where he joins us on several of. Yes. Bobby Nash has been on quite a bit. Talk about an established author as well. The man, hybrid brats. Thank you, Tiffany. That's funny. Bobby Nash. You need to check it out, folks. Bobby Nash. He's prolific, and he writes. Oh my goodness. He's an actor. He's a producer. He is a writer, and he does comic books. He does novels, shorts, and I don't know if he wears shorts, but that was a damn funny question by Ben. Hey, you wearing pants right now? And I was like, I don't know. You willing to wager? I wanted to answer him, but I'm like, no. I thought that was fun. I'm going to have to go back and record that segment where he says, you guys wearing pants? I just think that we should keep that one. But all kidding aside, folks, Bobby Nash, you should look him up on the internet. It's quite a bit of stuff going on. On the regular calendar, Comics 101 is on June 6th. The Professionals is on June 7th. And Trekking Across the Universe returns on June 8th, Thursday night. And that was going to be at 7 p.m. Pacific time. We're going to be reviewing Season 2 of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. On June 8th, it'll be the review of Season 1. And then on the debut, which is the 15th, 10 episodes. We're going to review them that night. Greg Teft will be joining me, and the invite is open to my fellow co-hosts if they're interested in joining as well. But that's what we're doing right now. I think Michael's going to be there. He's got a Star Trek problem. So I think he's going to be there. So.
A problem or a passion?
Yeah, well, one and the same.
Yeah, probably.
Yes. We have Courage to Look is on this Wednesday at 6 p.m. And Courage to Look will also be on the 14th. And the final episode for now, Courage to Look, will be on the 21st. Those episodes are going to be programmed within the next day or so. So we ask you to bear with us, but those are going to be on Wednesday. On May 31st, the 14th, and the 21st. And yours truly will be doing another Wednesday Night in America on the 14th entitled Curious and Unusual Facts. We did conspiracy theory last month, or this month. Next month, Curious and Unusual Facts. And then we're probably going to do Mysteries of the Ancients next month. I don't know. Once a month, I'm taking a different one and probably work through that cycle. I'm going to have a hybrid Wednesday night. You like that, Tiffany? Do you like hybrids? So we'll see. I know Michael's going to be there. Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. He can say, he can deny all he wants. He's going to be there. So, all right. Sports Talk with the Guys is on at 6 a.m. every Saturday. That's Pacific time. Evernew will be on June 3rd, June 17th, and July 1st. So that's what we got going on right now. And I may have news on Sports Talk with the Guys in the month of July very soon. So we'll ask you to. When are we going to do Scary? I'm here, Tiffany. What more do you want?
That's scary enough for me.
I got you, Michael. All
I
right,
know
well,
you do.
there it is. Oh, movies. I don't know. You have to get on those kids. Friday night's open right now. Don't know when it's not going to be, but there it is. So Better Call Saul will be returning this Sunday as well at 3 p.m. And it's a Better Call Saul Season 6 rewatch. And we do have somewhere in there, we're going to be doing, I don't know what that means, Tiffany, but I guess you'll have to tell me one day.
That you're not scary, that she's used to you now, so you're not scary.
Really?
Anymore. I guess I'm assuming that's what it means.
Okay, well, I don't know. We'll have to see. But we're going to do a Breaking Bad rewatch sometime this summer or in the fall, and we're going to go all the way through. So all 5 seasons, we'll see it. Yes, I don't know what that means, Tiffany.
But my what I said.
Oh, really? Is that what it is? Oh,
Yes.
It's what you said.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, whatever. ndbmedia.net, folks. Check it out. We're on Twitter. Give us a like, give us a follow, give us a subscribe. We need them. We're old men. We're on our way to 1 million subscribers. So we need them all. Thank you, folks, and we appreciate you. Michael, anything else?
Think that's it. Went through what I know definitely. So
Yeah, folks, in the month of July, several programs are going to be coming over on Tuesday nights. Fandom Access will be over, and Travel Talk will be on Wednesdays. Don't know the time yet. So we have a lot of programming coming on up. So we're looking forward to it, and we hope you get a kick out of it. I don't know when the Oh, Tiffany, thanks for joining us on Joke Night. That was funny. Had some funny jokes. Thanks for playing along. Our next Joke Night, I believe, will be in August on the 16th. And then we have one on November 15th. So every 3 months we do Joke Night. So just to give you an idea. All right. I think that's going to be it. Ladies and gentlemen, we're good. I'm good in the hood. Oh, hell, I think I might be in the hood. So I'm good. In the hood. No. Not
I'm
funny.
on the lake.
Not. I thought your house was up in the mountains.
Yeah, but this is a view from my house.
Oh, now you're bragging. Is that really the view?
It's a view a couple doors down, yeah. Because my view is obstructed by the trees most of the time, except in the winter time.
Okay, I've got to take a picture of that because I got to put that in the forum for NDB Media. Just as is right there. I want Scary Movies Night. Okay, so I'm going to post that in our forum. If you don't believe me, Tiffany, there it is. Look at that. There, you see? There, it's right there. I want Scary Movie Night. I took that picture. All right. I love it when my computer screen goes dark. Ugh, it's unnerving. All right, Michael, we're good. Oh, hey, stop it. Stop screwing around. Okay.
What did I do?
Not you. What did you do? You're getting all these guests. You're killing me, Michael.
Well, yeah, you told me to kill you. Yeah, you said,
Michael,
I want more
don't know-
guests, and that kills
don't-
me. And I said,
I-
okay, if you want more guests, then
I don't know how badly you. I don't know how if you realize how badly that sounds.
I know it does.
Oh, it looks like we're watching another movie.
Well, you wanted a scary movie, so here we
Okay,
go.
this sounds bad.
Yeah.
Oh, I just got a message. Wow. Spaghetti. Well, I'm not going to be Alicia and forget about dinner. I'm going to have me a little
Well, we
spaghetti.
got 2 guests that didn't have dinner. Remember?
Yeah, 2? Quite a
2.
few.
Cosmo.
Yeah.
Cosmo didn't have dinner either.
Yeah. All right. Shall we belabor this?
Nah, well, we just need to go.
All right. Yeah, the sound's off again. All right, folks. Appreciate it. We love you. We're thankful. And we'll see you guys on the other side. Peace. And don't forget, choose your own adventure. Awesome books. We'll see you guys. Peace.